for some reason, the new block wall they drilled holes at the bottom of the block. So like when I got there today, there's like just water just shooting out of these holes. And I'm like, damn, I mean, there was probably a half inch of water running through that basement today when me and Randy were working down there. I was like, we're going to have to get this thing dry. And do not forget this Sunday. This Sunday, the 22nd, we are going to be live on YouTube and Facebook for a Christmas special. We have no idea what we're going to do for the Christmas special, but it'll be a Christmas special. But the big thing you do not want to miss, we're going to be giving away a knife roll. Shelly, we're going to have a VacMaster knife roll that we're going to be giving away to somebody. It's an awesome knife roll. I've got a couple of them. Shelly's got a couple of them, and they're freaking awesome. So
all these spectacular knives. It's got scissors right here. It's got one of those honing sticks right here. It's got everything that you need to do your home processing right here in a roll. It rolls up. It's just amazing.
So join us.
Canvas bag.
Yeah. Join us the 22nd of December, this coming up Sunday for a live, and hopefully you will win the knife roll.
This could totally be yours.
Yeah. So we'll see you Sunday.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. This is Shelly.
I'm Jason, and I've been working in the dungeon basement, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. It's not really a dungeon. Not when I get it'll be nice, real nice when we get done with it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Hey, guys, it's Jason back with you. Glad to have you here. VacMasterFresh.com. Go check those guys out. They make probably the best chamber sealers on the market. I'm not biased. I like it. They're a super great product. But use the code Homestead. You'll save 15% off your order, not just for the chamber sealers, but also for knives, bags, and all their butchering stuff, stainless steel tables, all that. And Shelly, they've still got a sale going on, don't they?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. It may be ending today, which is not when this will be released. But just in case, right now they have a sale going on, 10% off if you spend $600, 15% off if you spend $800, and 20% off if you spend $1,000. And that stacks, our discount stacks on top of that. So, if you spent $1,000, you get 35% off. So go check it out. The sale may be ending on the 18th, and I think this video is going to come out in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So they may have another sale starting in the morning. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely go check them out. They have great chamber sealers. You will not be disappointed in the products you get from them.
That and the knives. I mean, I put in Kroger, and we grow and raise a lot of our own meat that we eat here. But when Kroger has bone-in ribeye roast for $5.97 a pound, you jump on that stuff. So I bought, it was almost a 10-pound bone-in ribeye roast. I cut the bone out of it. We'll save the bones and eat those later. But I cut ribeye steaks out of it. And, man, I did a video on it. You're saving $9 a pound or so, $9 to $10 a pound. I used their knives. Man, that 8-inch breaking knife slid right through that ribeye. I mean, it was just like, holy cow, this is nice.
You can make some amazing bone broth out of those ribs, and that stuff is good for your gut, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm gonna cook the ribs. I usually braise the ribs and eat those, and I love some beef ribs.
I like beef ribs too. I actually like those better than pork ribs.
Yeah, but I mean, I cut that rib roast into ribeyes, like good inch and a quarter thick ribeyes. Stuck them in the bags and stuck them in the chamber sealer and sealed them up. I mean, think about it. If you start saving $9 to $10 a pound on meat, I mean, you can pay for one of those things pretty stinking quick. So,
yep.
Guys, go check out VacMaster. Also check out Signature Solar. There is a coupon code, or there's a link in the description of the video. Click on that link and use the code Homestead. That'll save you some money on your solar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got a video with one of their products going to come out after Christmas because I'm not going to be mean and open someone's Christmas present before they get it.
Yeah,
So,
someone else's Christmas present.
yeah, somebody else's Christmas present. I'm not going to open it.
Right.
But yeah, well, I've got some other plans for some stuff that after the first year I'm going to order before Trump's tariffs kick in that everybody's scared about. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to order some more solar stuff and play around with it. But yeah, go check out signaturesolar.com and order some stuff from those guys, and use the affiliate link. You'll get some money off that way. So, Shelly, what have you been up to? I saw your fence that you put up.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, the hard fence looks good. I glanced at the hard fence, but I was talking about the new electric fence that you got stuck up there.
Randy's got, we had to buy a new battery for one of our solar chargers. So it's got to like sit outside in the sunlight for 3 days to charge up. And we've not had any sunlight because it's been all rain. Like it's like the Pacific Northwest here right now. It's just not going to stop raining.
Yeah.
So that's just like a small section of the fenced in part of our field because we want to, like move them around the field and rotationally graze them or whatever that is. And then, so what have I got going on? A friend that I work with has had a little ram lamb born it was the end of November, and we are buying him. So our girls will have a guy, and we're going to get him, I want to say the end of March, I think. He told me like 4 months or something. That's fine because, I would rather him be where he's with his mama while it's cold and all that kind of thing. You're working on my basement.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a minute.
I want to get to some point, like there's some structural things that have to be fixed that Jason is working on, but I want to get to the point, and that's because our basement leaks. I want to get to the point where I can put shelving down there and, like store potatoes and gourds and sweet potatoes and all that kind of stuff, have places in the basement to put that and places to start. I want to ramp up my canning stuff and just have places to store food. And a basement is a good place to do that because it's cool and dark, and usually things last pretty well down there, but not when I have rivers of water running through my basement.
Hey, I don't know what they did on that. At the bottom of it, along those walls, and what they did, for people that don't know, they dug the basement out from underneath the house.
The house was here. It was built here, and then they dug the basement out. And then not only that, there's been additions put on the front of the house and the back of the house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but go ahead.
Yeah. So they dug it out, which is not uncommon. I've seen it before. But for some reason, the new block wall they drilled holes at the bottom of the block. So like when I got there today, there's like just water just shooting out of these holes. And I'm like, damn, I mean, there's probably a half inch of water running through that basement today when me and Randy were working down there. I was like, we're going to have to get this thing dry. And what concerned me was when I looked at it originally, I peeked over in one of those corners and I'm like, oh crap. And you're like, what? I was like, it's just a void underneath there. There's nothing in that corner of the house holding the footings up. And I'm like, we've got to get something in there. So originally I was like, it'll probably take 40 bags of concrete and 50-pound sacks is what I was figuring to do it. So
now this house, I mean, this house was built like in 1950. It's been here for a really long time. It's not, it's not falling down around our ears or anything. It's nothing like that, but it is like, you're right. These things need to be fixed if we want it to last longer, I guess.
And it's just where water has eroded that is what it is. It's nothing that anybody did or neglect or anything like that. Realistically, if water wasn't coming in the basement, you would have never known.
Right.
So I mean, I like originally I figured, I was like, it'll probably take 40 bags of concrete to pour in there and fill that up. We went through 50 bags already.
Yeah, you brought 20 the first day and 30
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done 50 bags so far. So we put, was that 2,500 pounds of concrete in there already? And we're half to 2/3 of the way filled up. So, but the bad thing about it is Randy's helping me, but you mix a 50-pound sack and we're mixing it in a bucket with one of my tile mixing drills. So we're mixing it, but the bad thing is you got to get on the step ladder holding this bucket and then dump it back over behind the wall. And you've only got like a 4-inch gap in there to pour it in there. And it's just like after 30 bags, and it didn't take long to mix the 30 bags, but after humping 30 bags on that step ladder and pouring it, I told Randy, I was like, man, my arms are freaking shot.
So doesn't a bag of concrete weighs what, 50 pounds?
Yeah, these are 50-pound bags.
And that's dry. So what does it weigh when it's wet in a 5-gallon bucket?
Well, if you put, let's say maybe 2 pounds for the bucket, and then we're not putting a gallon of water with it. But if we put a gallon of water with it, you're another 8 pounds. You're doing a 60 pounds, somewhere around there. So it's not super fun, but
No.
But it's better than being out in the cold and everything else. I was going to say the cold and the wet, but it's wet down there right now.
It seems like everything that we get into around here turns into something bigger.
Yeah. But the thing is,
my life.
But the nice thing about it is it's something that I can fix. Everything's going to be fine, and nothing. I mean, once it's done. I mean, we're going to fill all that in. The footings are going to be supported again, and it's not like it's costing $1 million. Right. So, I mean, you're still good. I mean, you're not going to have to go sell plasma or anything next week.
Thank God.
But yeah, I'm going to be back up there tomorrow. Probably bring another 30 bags in, and Randy and I'll screw around and mix another 30 bags. But
I came home today and he was like, all the lights were out in the house. The TV was on and it was really loud. And he's sitting on the couch and he is like out cold because like he worked all night last night. Yeah, and you got here this morning. He hasn't been to bed.
Yeah.
And he was out cold and I woke him up and I was like, dude, go to bed. I said, we got to do this podcast. I was like, just go to bed. And he's like, no, I'm going to sit here. I'm just going to sit here. And if I get sleepy, and I know when I walk out of this room, he's going to be out cold on the couch again. I'm like, just go to bed. You've been up since like 1:30 yesterday. Go to bed.
Yeah. Hey, I'm bad about that too. But now I tell you what, last night I went to bed at 9:00. That's the first time I went to bed at 9:00, and I don't know when.
I am almost always in bed. I'm usually in bed by about 8:15 and asleep by 9:00 because I'll listen to a book on my Audible thing or something, and I usually fall asleep before because I can set a timer on my Audible app to shut off, and I usually fall asleep before the timer goes off because I get up at 4:30 every morning. So, I've reached that point in my life, and I don't care. I mean, if I would have known, like seriously, as a toddler, all the naps I had to take, and I bitched and moaned about that, make me go take a nap. Just somebody, please make me go take a nap for real.
Oh yeah. Now I'm a night owl. It's most of the time it's at least 11:00 before I go to bed, and then there's some nights that I will go in there and try to go to sleep, and then like the last time I look at the clock, it's like 1:30, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm going to have to be up in a few hours. So, but it is what it is. So, real quick, before we get into the news, on the website, the pig processing class is live. You can sign up for that. We've got the pig processing is going to come up January 25th. It's going to be here at my house in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're going to show you how to take a pig that is alive and that'll be alive in the morning, and it's going to be sausage and Backmaster bags by the afternoon. So we're going to show you all the steps of that. It's $250 a person or $400 for couples. So it's going to be a limited thing. We're probably only going to have 10 seats for this because we want it to be a hands-on where you get in there and actually get your hands on cutting meat and stuff like that. We would rather do a small class and you get your money's worth. That, and you will leave with one, possibly two butchering knives from Backmaster. We're waiting to see if we can get everything in by then and stuff. So go check out the website, KentuckySustainableLiving.com, and sign up for that ASAP because there's only 10 spots available for that. So, and hopefully the weather will be nice. Hopefully it'll be like a high of 42 and sunny, but it probably won't be. It'll probably be 12 degrees and snowing.
Another thing, I came across something today, and I'm just going to recommend y'all go listen. If you follow Nicole Sauce, who is her website is Living Free in Tennessee, she's putting, it started on the 17th. So she's putting a different version of The Night Before Christmas on her website. It goes on there like every night at 5 or 6 o'clock up until Christmas. The first one that was on the 17th was the intellectual Night Before Christmas, the reading of the story. It is a freaking hoot, man. You got to go. I posted it on our Facebook page for Kentucky Sustainable Living Festival. So it's on there if you want to go listen to it. But livingfreeintennessee.com, go listen to these because it's just funny as crap. I sent it out to a bunch of people at work because I work with a bunch of engineers. And so they're all like, this is awesome.
I haven't listened to it yet. I need to.
It's really funny. It gives like, I mean, I can't even duplicate it. I'm not smart enough. I mean, I knew what they were talking about when they read it, but if I didn't know the story, I don't know that I would know what they were talking about because it was all these like big $5 words and stuff. I was like, oh my God, this is a hoot. It's so funny.
Well, now with the pig processing class too, don't worry if you get cold. We've got a wood stove and you can stay warm. Mm-hmm. So Shelly will vouch for the wood stove.
Yeah, once we get the pig like dispatched and skinned and all of that eviscerated and everything, we'll take it inside. We'll close the big door to the shop and it'll warm up in there pretty quick. He gets that fire going and it's warm. But dude, I mean, if you look at the on our website where you go and sign up for the class, it says on there, make sure to dress warm, dress in layers, wear warm socks, wear comfortable shoes, all of those things. We'll have nitrile gloves and everything for you to wear, but it's probably a good idea to wear a pair of warm gloves and put the rubber gloves or plastic gloves on top of it. So, and make sure you wear something that you don't care because we're going to be like elbows deep in a pig. Make sure you wear something that you don't care if it gets a little bit dirty because you're probably going to have to go home and wash up.
Can we do hot chocolate for it?
Yeah, we can make hot chocolate. That'd be good.
All right. We got to figure out what we're going to do for lunch. Something non-pork.
Yeah, something not pig.
I'm thinking chili would be good.
Maybe.
So, hey, guys, leave a comment in the comment section. What should we have non-pork for the pig processing class? Whether you're coming or not, I'd like to know suggestions. Leave a comment and also just leave a comment for anything. It helps with the algorithm. The more comments we have, the more people get to see it. And it helps out.
And share this so people find out about it.
Yeah. So what do you got?
Pork in my chili, though. I put pork and beef in my chili. I like spicy pork in my chili.
Well, we probably don't need to do pork for the class.
You can't really taste the pork, though, because it's in chili.
But now I'm the one that says, too, one time when I was doing a beef, I was grinding hamburger, and there's a picture of me eating a hamburger while I'm grinding burger. So it's whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't want a pork chop or whatever, but maybe a couple different kinds of soup. All
right. You're in charge.
We'll figure something out.
All right. What have you got for news?
So I was looking on I actually found an article on Babylon Bee, and you guys know Babylon Bee is all satire stuff, right? So there's this article.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. This article that says Is it too far? Biden pardons all bicyclists. And it says, he clearly didn't think this through with any regard for civilized decency, said one White House insider. We tried to talk him out of it, but he insisted on pardoning all bicyclists. From his standpoint, it doesn't matter how unpopular he is. He's leaving office next month, and pardoning cyclists is one obvious sign that he's going scorched earth on his way out. So that's supposed to be funny, right? It's supposed to be like, oh, whatever. The reality of it is he is going all scorched earth.
Yeah.
He has pardoned. There's one Chinese guy that he pardoned that was in jail because he had hundreds of videos on his computer of child pornography, including rape of infants.
Yeah.
And I don't know if saying the R word is going to get us shut down. Sometimes, this is whatever. It's bajiggity. But, and then not only that, this is like everybody's up in arms about this in Pennsylvania. Apparently, so if you guys know what Kids for Cash is.
Not the cars, clunkers for cash for clunkers.
Yeah. So there was a judge in Pennsylvania 15 years ago. He was sentenced in federal court, a judge. Okay, a judge. He was sentenced in federal court for more than 17 years. That's all he got was 17 years. For his part in what FBI acknowledged as the worst judicial scandal in Pennsylvania history. His name was Michael Conahan. And him and another judge originally were charged in 2009 following exposure of the scheme to send kids to for-profit jails in exchange for kickbacks.
Yeah.
Like sending minors to like juvie or whatever for-profit jails where those children were exploited and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the kids that this happened to have even taken their lives since that happened. So that happened 15 years ago. He was sentenced to 17 years. He would get out in 2 more years. The 17-year thing is freaking ridiculous. I mean, he should not even be out of jail anytime soon. But now he is out altogether because Biden let him go.
Oh,
Biden
yeah.
gave him clemency.
Well, it's I don't know. It's a whole 2-tier justice system, and I'll scratch your back or something like that. I mean, Lord, if somebody, you get more time for tax evasion than you will doing what they're talking about, sending kids up the river to the for-profit jails. I've always said before that, if you get in trouble for murdering somebody as opposed to tax evasion, I'll take the murder charge because you'll get less time.
Right.
So, but yeah, he's going to do what he's going to do. There's nothing you can do about it. But there should be something set in there, some way to regulate that. Because, essentially he can do whatever he wants to and pardon whoever he wants to, and there's no checks and balances on that, which is kind of crappy. The way our government is set up, there are checks and balances on it, but I don't see too much checks and too much balances on that deal.
Well, and he pardoned, it was like 1,500 people.
Yeah.
Now, he probably doesn't even remember 1,500 people. No. And you can't tell me that I just kind of feel like, and y'all can agree or disagree, but I just kind of feel like there's somebody back there that is like taking handouts and, oh, you're going to pay me this much? Okay, your name's on the list. You're clear. Oh, here's another $2 million. Your name's on the list. Oh, you're clear. And he just signs this blanket clemency thing, and he probably didn't even know half those people.
Oh, no. Well, that's what the whole government's turned into, is how much money can I get out of this deal?
It's just, it's disgusting. I don't know.
No, it's stupid. There's nothing we can do to fix it. It's probably never going to be fixed, honestly. And it's one of those things that just pisses me off to the core, all the corruption and stuff going on with the government. And there's not much way to fix it. So
what doesn't make sense to me is that we have a judicial system and we're supposed to believe in, the justice of the judicial system. And this dude was sentenced, should have been more in my opinion, but he was sentenced to 17 years by a jury of his peers.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even matter. Like, how do you have faith in the judicial system that somebody who does something so horrific is going to serve the time given to them when this can just happen? And I know it happens. I know it happens on a state level. Like, governors can do this. It happens on a federal level. I know. But it still is crap.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. Maybe they ought to just stop it all together.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I'd be in favor of it, just stopping it all together. I mean, you're just letting people go. So, I think they ought to be harder on a lot of things, too. I think there's certain things that you ought to, high-speed lead poisoning is the way to take care of a lot of it. And I would be all about it. I mean, that and televise that stuff on TV, that'd stop a lot of that crap right then. So that and go back to public hangings. Yeah. I mean, now, heck, think about this. We could pay off the national debt if we went back to public hangings and did a pay-per-view deal and all the money went to pay off the national debt. I mean.
Or what about if we weren't housing all these idiots and using tax dollars to do it?
Well, you got that too. So, all right, let's jump into.
I mean, I've got mixed feelings about all that stuff, but if you're going to mess with kids and if you're going to, have child porn and abuse children, and I don't feel like tax dollars should go to pay for your stuff. I feel like a wood chipper should be installed in that prison, and that should take care of it.
Yeah. Or like one of the good stationary, like mulch grinders, like the tub grinders.
Yep.
They got those where you pick the stuff up with a clamshell bucket and drop it in.
Yep.
That'd be cool as shit to watch.
I don't know about watching it, but I'm cool with it happening.
I mean, I'd watch it. I'll buy pay-per-view for that. So maybe sell tickets. Do like the Rome Coliseum.
Let's move on.
You opened the box. I just looked in.
Yeah.
So, what have we got for a main topic?
So, our main topic today, we're going to talk about food sovereignty. So, what exactly does food sovereignty mean? And you're going to see me looking over here at my computer because I have a lot of notes.
We were prepared. We actually made notes for this.
Yeah. So what exactly is food sovereignty? Food sovereignty is the right of people and communities to control their own food systems, how food is grown, distributed, and consumed. So think about, do you know where your food comes from? I remember the very first time that we processed chickens here at our house. Randy and I and two of our daughters went in together and bought we had like 72 birds or 72 chicks that we bought from a hatchery. And that's back when I built our PVC chicken tractor that you see on my channel. And so we raised those chickens and then and grew them out, and they were roosters, and we grew them all out, and we bought a chicken plucker. I mean, this is before I ever met Jason. It's, we had never done that before. It took us 2 days to process most of those chickens. And then we just split them 3 ways. And I remember our oldest grandson, Troy, he was maybe 7 or 8 at the time. And he came out there to the barn, and Jessica asked him if he wanted to help us to process the chickens. And he said no, that he just wanted to watch. And then our next oldest grandson, who was a year younger than him, he was like, why are you doing that? And Troy looked at him and said, do you not know? He said, don't you like to eat chicken nuggets? And Jackson said, yeah. And he goes, well, this is where they come from.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, he understood. He didn't want to take part in killing a bird, which it's fine. But he understood, and he knows when we process pigs here, we process chickens, whatever we do, he knows that that's going to put food on our table, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So
and it goes past the security part to more of how the food's grown and what you can do with the food supply, essentially. You know, that's one of the nice things about it, decision making and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the core principles of food sovereignty are to prioritize local food producers over corporate agribusiness, protect traditional farming knowledge and biodiversity, and promote environmental sustainable practices. So that it doesn't mean that you have to make everything. This is what Jason and I and everybody that we know, we're always talking community, 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 and building those resources that you have in your community. Because, you know, maybe I'm a chicken farmer. I'm not, but maybe I'm a chicken farmer. And so you get your eggs and your chicken meat from me, and Jason raises sheep. And so you get, you know, mutton or whatever from him. And then you've got somebody over here that raises cows, and you get beef from them, and you can just trade or barter back and forth, but you know where your food is coming from.
Yeah. And that, I mean, really it ties into permaculture stuff too, because yes, if you look at it, you're going against corporate ag business for the smaller stuff. You're protecting traditional knowledge and diversity, you know, to where it's not just a monocrop system through this whole field. And then environmental practices, you know, sustainable practices, which all that kind of bundles up into a bundle of permaculture stuff.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the nice thing. Permaculture encompasses a lot of different things, not just the hippy dippy stuff. So,
well, and not only the things that you just listed, but what about traditional farming practices? You know, not big ag practices, not the, you know, all of the super expensive inputs that farmers have to buy just so they can grow a crop of corn and all of that stuff. I'm talking about traditional stuff that's sustainable on your property, making your own compost, you know, using those systems that interlock with each other and work with each other to grow your own food, to fertilize your own ground, to not have all the chemicals and all that stuff. And I'm not talking about, like, I'm not a huge proponent of organic, mainly because I've learned that foods that say that they're organic in the grocery store, they're still allowed to put chemicals on those. There's a whole list of chemicals that you can still put on that. And some of those chemicals contain carcinogens. So how is that organic? If it's going to have something in it that can harm me, that's not organic to me. So organic, having that label on it means nothing to me, for real.
Oh, yeah.
But if I have, I mean, I'm not certified organic, but I know the stuff that I grow out here, I don't put chemicals on my food. I don't put chemicals in my ground. I fertilize with rabbit poop and compost, and that's how I grow things. And for the most part, what I do here is trial and error. I mean, sometimes I have a tremendous crop of potatoes, and sometimes I have a really crappy crop of potatoes. But I learn from my mistakes. So when it gets to the point that maybe that's the only way I can get my food, I kind of know what I'm doing, you know? So some of the challenges of food sovereignty, big ag. I mean, you wouldn't think, did you, something I heard recently, you know, because RFK Jr. is going to take over what is it called? DSS? No, HSS, Health and Services,
Health and Human Services.
Yeah, HHS. That's what it is. And so he's trying to get a lot of the toxins that we have in our food out. I learned today in an article that I read, it said that this is why Europe does not accept our food.
Yeah.
Because of the stuff that we put in our food and I'm talking about crops. Like they don't accept our food to be shipped there for their consumption because our crops are grown with too many chemicals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, they try to make it sound like the United States is like feeding the world, and there's a portion of the world that won't even take our food because they, deem it too toxic to consume.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, if you look at most of this farmland, when the crops are not there, the dirt's red. It's just freaking red dirt. I mean, and if you know anything about construction or anything like that, red dirt is what you use to build buildings on. Because once you get it at the right moisture level and pack it down, that stuff turns to bricks and it's rock hard. If these big ag farmers that are just doing row crop year after year, if they don't have those chemicals, you go out there. I would love to see. Well, you can see what it looks like at when they curve, at the edge of the rows where the boom sprayer doesn't get sprayed.
Yeah.
You've got all the rest of the corn's 9-10 foot tall, and then the other corn that didn't get sprayed, that stuff might be 3 feet tall and just looks pitiful. So without all these chemicals, there's no way that they can grow. The only thing they're going to grow out there is weeds without spraying stuff on it.
Right. Exactly.
So, and they're constantly in that cycle of pumping more fertilizer and pumping more stuff into that ground. And they're killing, there's no soil life whatsoever in there.
Right.
There's no diversity. The only thing that's out in those cornfields, most of the time, some deer that are munching on corn. There's no quail. There's no nothing else out there. So.
Yeah. Another one of the challenges for food sovereignty is access issues. You have land access. More and more, we're selling off farmland and building subdivisions.
Or to the Chinese.
The Chinese are buying our land. And then the third challenge is climate change. Now, I don't really want to get started on a discussion about climate change. I'm one of these people that I kind of think that nature works in patterns or cycles. And, like if you study back, I mean, I remember studying in school, we had ice ages over different millennia and all that kind of thing. And I think that that's kind of how that works. But there are when you have a hurricane that comes through Tennessee and Western North Carolina and devastates that area, I can't help but think that there's like some climate change stuff that happens that's not part of that normal cycle thing. Well, and I'll just leave that there. You decide what you want about that.
With the climate change deal, I don't believe in man-made climate change. I don't think that there's anything that man can do to keep us from having an ice age. Possibly.
Right. I don't either. But I am kind of the opinion that man is trying to manipulate some things.
Now, I believe in government-controlled climate change because like we see it all the time. I mean,
well, that's the same as man-made.
Well, yeah. But when they say man-made, they're talking about everybody out there, doing stuff. I'm talking about HARP and the government cloud seeding and all that.
I don't think cows out there farting in a field is going to change whether or not we have an ice age or whether or not the planet gets warm. I don't see that. I agree with what you're saying though, because it's not. Yeah.
But I mean, and granted, yes, some of the challenges, like you're looking at challenges right now over in Tennessee and North Carolina. These people's places have been wiped out. Even if they've got soil left to plant anything in, it's horribly toxic where you can't plant anything in it, much less live there. So yes, you've got problems with that as far as we'll call it the climate change deal. But
we don't know challenges compared to what these people are dealing with.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got that. You do have droughts, unpredictable weather. The weather is, I think Tornado Alley has shifted this way a little bit. And you can kind of see it because we do have weird storms at certain times. But I think a lot of that's manipulated also. So, and then also, too, if you're getting stuff from a small farmer, let's just say a small farmer that's raising beef cattle is only running 100 pair. 100 head of cattle. If something happens with that, yes, it's going to affect your local supply a lot more than this big manufacturer that's running, 30,000 head of cattle through in his feedlot. If he loses 10 or 15 cows, feeder calves or something, that's not going to affect him as much as a guy just running 100 head will. So the scalability on that is a big thing to watch out for. But then also have a backup plan. If something really goes bad with that one guy, have a backup plan where you can still get your beef.
Yeah.
So
how can you support food sovereignty? What can you do? Especially if you are not growing your own stuff, or you don't have the land space to grow your own meat or raise hogs or chickens. What can you do? One of the things that you can do is shop local, buy from a farmer's market, check out CSAs. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that. It's a community supported agriculture. And usually what that is, you'll get with a farmer at the beginning of the season that'll have CSAs or have a CSA, and you pay them so much a month. And then the way that it worked, because I used to do this back before we started growing our own food and stuff. I paid a lady at the farmer's market, I want to say it was like $75 a month or something like that. And every week I would go up to the farmer's market and she would have a basket of food for me. Like there was various, and it was stuff that was in season. So it was various vegetables. At the beginning, I know in the spring, she would have like different kinds of lettuce and kale and spinach and all of that kind of stuff in there. There would be potatoes, carrots, like whatever was in season coming out of their garden. And then she also, she bartered with other people at the farmer's market. And so sometimes there'd be a whole chicken in my basket or a dozen eggs, or she also had a flower growing business, and she grew flowers for people for weddings and stuff like that. So every week I would get this pretty bouquet of flowers that she had in the basket, and her flowers were beautiful. But I'm pretty sure I paid $75 a month, which I don't know, maybe it's been so long ago. I mean, maybe at that time, I'm thinking now that's pretty cheap for every week. I got a basket of food for $75 a month. But go support your farmer's market. And, a lot of places, and even in big cities, they'll have them well into like October and November and as early as March, because you got people that are growing things in greenhouses and stuff. And if you get to know those people, then, you can just work with them directly. I mean, maybe they do have greenhouses and they're growing stuff, but maybe the farmer's market's closed down in the wintertime. You may still be able to get food from them all year long.
Yeah. And you're going to eat more seasonally if you're doing that. Just like our ancestors did. They ate seasonally. Whatever was in season, that's what they were eating if they didn't have it canned and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is good to eat seasonal. You hear people talk about that a lot. I mean, you're not eating fresh. It's not normal to eat fresh tomatoes in January unless you've got an awesome greenhouse.
Right.
So
another way you can support food sovereignty is, of course, grow your own food, grow your own garden, raise your own meat, all of those kind of things. You can also advocate for policy change. Like right now in Kentucky, it's and I think it's happening in Tennessee too. It's a hot topic about raw milk.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in my area and down in Tennessee that are very happy that RFK Jr. is coming into that position because he is also an advocate for raw milk. So advocate for policy change. Get the people in office who think, that are doing the things that you want to see. Be the ones that support them, or even run for those offices yourself.
Yeah, I mean the whole grow your own stuff. That's the biggest thing for me that I like. That's the biggest thing that I would push, because even if you got an acre, you can still do a lot of stuff on an acre. I mean, you can do a whole lot of stuff. You're not going to be 100% self-sufficient raising everything you need on an acre, but you can start. And then, and it going back what Shelly talked about too, growing and doing your community stuff. If you can't get it from there, you've got somebody that you can get it from. So grow as much stuff as you can. Try. If it doesn't work, try something else. I mean, just keep trying. Something is eventually going to stick and you're going to find that you like. I mean, heck, you could do on an acre, Lord knows how much you could do as far as just bees. I mean, and making honey, that's liquid gold. You could trade all kinds of stuff. You could get a hell of a lot of beef for some honey, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. Another thing that you can do is educate yourself. Jessica Sowers from Roots and Refuge Farm, she always says, use this time, if you don't have your farm yet, or you don't have a lot of land or whatever, that use this time as your classroom to learn how to do things. But if you follow, who's the permaculture guy that Billy is always talking about?
Eric Sider.
Yeah, if you follow Eric Sider, he lived like in an apartment with a balcony and still did permaculture out on his balcony.
He had fish on his balcony.
You can figure out how to make it work. You can do those things and begin to learn how to grow things and how weather works and all of that kind of stuff. And then the last one on the list is support farmer advocacy groups. So look into seeing, I've seen something on Facebook the last couple of days, and it said that there was a lot of beef farmers that were banding together to create their own beef processing places, because I guess this is like a monopolized thing. Oh, and yeah. It just knocks small farmers out of being able to do this. Support those things when those are happening. And the way that you support them is you buy from them. Yeah. If you don't grow your own beef, buy it from a local farmer who is growing that beef the way that you want your meat to be grown. What grass fed is the big popular thing. And, if they're legit farms and they stand behind their product, they will let you come out and visit their place. And you can see how their animals are raised, and you can see how they're, processed and all that kind of stuff, which in Kentucky, you can process your own meat for your own consumption, but you can't process, like I cannot process a pig and sell it to Jason. He's over here. I'm always pointing in the wrong direction. I cannot process a pig and sell it to Jason. It has to be a USDA certified inspector on site, a USDA certified butcher, all of that for me. So I could raise pigs and take them to a USDA certified butcher and him process them. And then I take those packages back and I can sell them at the farmer's market. You're allowed to do that. But there's a lot of expense and middleman stuff that happens with that. But if you, here where we live in Kentucky, there are butchers around here and farms that raise their own meat, butcher their own meat on their place. They have inspectors and all that stuff. And you can go out and see how those animals are raised. Go and make those connections and make those people part of your community. And then you've got that next level of resilience that Jason was talking about, having a backup plan. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that's the big thing. Try to grow as much as you can on your own and then find those local connections. I mean, in Kentucky, you can do, if you don't want to do the USDA route, you can buy a whole pig. I can go to Shelly's house and buy a pig from her and take it to a custom exempt butcher, and he can do everything I want, and you're still perfectly legal. I mean, heck, Shelly can take the pig and do everything. I could call her and be like, hey, I want like a 275-pound finished pig. I want you to take it there. We set up how much it's going to cost. She delivers the pig. I pay the butcher, and I go pick up packages of meat. And the only difference between that and the USDA certified, is a guy in a white coat came in and looked at it, and half the time they don't care.
Yep.
So they're just there to get a paycheck. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's tons of small farmers and stuff like that. I mean, especially in Bowling Green, it seems like you can't hardly throw a rock without finding a small producer of a farm, somebody that, you know, they're growing their own stuff there. They're selling beef, they're selling eggs, they're selling, you know, poultry raised chicken, stuff like that. They're everywhere.
So as we wrap this up, this is our challenge to you. At some point this week, to support food sovereignty, go visit a local farm stand or a local farm, or start a conversation about food or origins. Start talking to the people in your family. Do you know where your food comes from? When you look at the package or the label on a package of food, can you even pronounce those words? Because if you can't pronounce those words, you don't need to be eating that mess.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, plant something in your backyard or your windowsill. I know it's winter months, but like right now, I had a recipe at Thanksgiving for jalapeno cranberry salsa. I love this stuff. And so I make it for Thanksgiving every year. But one of the ingredients that goes in it is green onions. So I purchased a bunch of green onions because I didn't have any. And it takes fresh green onions. I chopped them all the way down to the green onion part. Did you know that you can set green onions in water and put them in your windowsill and grow new green onions?
Really?
Without any dirt.
I need to do that.
And you can keep chopping them down. Every time you need them, you just chop off the green part that you need, put them back in the water, and they'll grow another green onion.
I love green onions.
I do too. I mean, I'm not an onion fan, like, you know, big chunks of onion, but I love green onions and stuff. Grow something in your windowsill. I challenge you this week.
Hey, and we're in wintertime. Right now is the best time to plant fruit trees.
Yes, it is.
I mean, go out and plant fruit trees. I mean, and then in the springtime, grab your strawberries and put your strawberry plugs out there. So, and have massive amounts of strawberries, just like those strawberries that we planted last time. They didn't do much this fall, but I think springtime they're going to be hopping.
They'll be coming in like gangbusters.
Yeah. And I mean, you can throw comfrey out right now. Get comfrey roots. Mm-hmm. You can put roots in, and I mean, it's not going to hurt a thing. Essentially, Billy always says, as long as you can dig in the dirt and it's not frozen, you can put comfrey in the ground. Yeah. And that stuff grows like gangbusters. So, but yeah, guys, do that. Go out there, find a local farmers market that's going around. Check on Facebook. I mean, Facebook's a great place to find small farms. I mean, they're stinking everywhere. Join some of these groups and you can find smaller farmers. There's been no telling how much stuff I found on Facebook, smaller farmers and the like.
Yep.
So, but yeah, guys.
A final thought that I have, I want to read this. It said, food sovereignty isn't just about food. It's about empowering communities, protecting the planet, and preserving traditions. Together, we can create a food system that works for everyone.
I agree. All right, guys. We will see you Sunday for a live. Bye.
Bye.